Hi, you're listening to Childless and Moving Onward. This is the place where we talk about thriving in life when you're a woman who is childless, not by choice, regardless of the road that brought you to childlessness. Welcome to episode 55 of Childless and Moving Onward. I'm your host, Gail Miller. I'm a physician, life coach, and speaker. And in this podcast, my goal is to navigate the complexities of involuntary childlessness. I explored the raw emotions that come with this, the unexpected revelations, and the difficulties that are experienced by those who didn't choose not to become moms. This week, I'm going to focus on a quote, "I didn't take action." Now, I've heard this phrase from several of you. A few clients have said pretty much the exact or close to the exact same words. And these are from women saying the same thing, women who don't know each other, aren't in any way connected. Yet they've each used this or a very similar phrase to describe thoughts that come up about being childless. What these women who are childless by circumstance, not by choice, what they have in common is that they didn't go through fertility treatments. What they also have in common are these beliefs that their pain isn't valid, that they have no right to feel pain, or at least they think they don't have the right to talk about their pain or get support. Several believe they can't consider themselves childless not by choice. They think essentially that they don't qualify to say that their childlessness is not by choice. It's the not by choice part that they think doesn't apply to them. And from that, they extend their thoughts to believing they deserve the pain. Now, who is this group that I'm talking about? What are their reasons for being childless? Well, here are just a few examples. Someone with a chronic illness, someone having a partner who doesn't want children, or having a partner who has children from a previous relationship and doesn't want any more. Someone who carries a genetic disorder that they don't want to pass on. Someone who had a hysterectomy for whatever reason. Maybe it was endometriosis. Maybe they had fibroids that were bleeding. Maybe they had a traumatic situation physically and had to have a hysterectomy. Others have generational trauma they don't want to pass on. Others have dealt with infertility and made the decision to not to go through with fertility treatments because of the financial, the physical, or other risks that come with the treatments. Some want children with a partner and don't have one, and they don't want to be a single parent. They and others have faced life challenges that prevented them from having children. This isn't by any stretch even close to a complete list of reasons why someone is childless by circumstance and not by choice, other than those who have gone through unsuccessful fertility treatments and the pain and significant challenges that come with that. These individuals they also face societal judgment and pressure despite their valid reasons for not having children. I say also because women who have gone through unsuccessful fertility treatments are often judged as well. They're judged as having given up. So the judgment isn't limited to only a certain population of those who are childless not by choice. It's not limited to those who did or did not go through fertility treatments. But it's crucial to recognize and respect all circumstances. Understanding that childlessness isn't always a matter of choice. There are people who choose not to be because they don't want children. But not everybody who doesn't have a child has wanted that and has chosen that. So let's talk about this idea of I didn't take action and the problems that come with the beliefs that extend from this. Many women who are childless by circumstance too often believe that by not taking what they see as proactive steps towards having a child, their grief isn't valid. But this painful perspective ignores the emotional and societal factors that contribute to the pain of involuntary childlessness and the reasons for involuntary childlessness. It overlooks the fact that the decisions made were between options, none of which were positive ones. So the decisions that were made were really about figuring out which was the lesser of the different undesirable options. I went through this at two different times and in two different situations in my life. At one point in my life, when I recognized time was passing by and my plan to find the perfect partner and have children with him, well, it wasn't going as planned. So I considered becoming a single mom. But I also had to deal with having a parent who would have considered me dead if I was a single mom, who would have disowned me. And I had a boss who would have made, if not directly fired me, he would have made my life, my work life, incredibly miserable as a way to push me out because he did not believe in single motherhood, no matter the circumstances. On top of that, because of his importance and connections within my field and specifically my specialty, I wasn't sure I would ever be able to get another job, or at least not one in this setting that worked for me. Now, I can look back at that time now with the mindset work I've done since then and the confidence in myself that I have now. And I can see how I shouldn't have let them get in my way. However, at the time, I didn't believe in myself. I couldn't see a way of living life without family support and likely losing a job and maybe not getting another one. I mean, that's how I viewed it at the time. I couldn't even imagine bringing a child into this situation, and I was wondering if I could ever even take care of a child. What would I do? Where was I going to go? I made the decision not to become a single mom based on having to pick between two situations. Neither of those situations was good as far as I was concerned. Single motherhood with no job, no family support, having to move, losing my friend's social support, or I could continue on as I was in a job that I otherwise liked, but I wouldn't have a child. I didn't like either option. I decided to go with the path of not having a child, and then I talked myself into believing I was okay with it. Now, later in life, the second part of this, when this, inaction, I didn't take action, if you will, came into play is when I did meet the right partner. Except he already had 3 children and he didn't want any more. And he certainly wasn't going to go through the fertility treatments that I would have needed, but that also would have been a risk to my health. Neither option was what I wanted. Either leave this person I loved and then still have no support to become a single mom, or I could stay married to the person I loved, still love, and not have children of my own. This wasn't a decision between a good option and one that wasn't, or even between two decent options. It was a decision between, frankly, two equally crappy possibilities. While I still occasionally have to navigate my woulda, coulda, shoulda moments or the what if thoughts, I don't view my unwanted childlessness and the pain that comes with it as less or as not being legitimate. I didn't take action to try to have a child, but that doesn't mean I'm not childless, not by choice. It doesn't mean my grief isn't valid. Pain is pain. The circumstances are different for each person, but each of you has pain that is genuine, not more or less than, just different. It's important to acknowledge that the pain of childlessness is real and deserves recognition, no matter the path that you've taken to become childless. The idea that you don't qualify as childless not by choice, if you didn't go through fertility treatment, often comes from a misunderstanding of what it means to be in this situation. Now, misunderstanding is true of being childless not by choice in general. Specific to this set of circumstances, though, is that people often believe there's no reason for involuntary childlessness other than infertility. There's no recognition of the many, many, many different circumstances that can lead to being childless not by choice. There are often tough decisions between undesirable possibilities instead of a straightforward decision to act or not act. That's not it. It's not a straightforward, do I do this or don't I? It's a difficult decision between two options, neither of which you want. Now, in general, society very commonly fails to recognize the pain of involuntary childlessness. And that can be especially true if being childless doesn't involve being childless because of medical infertility. Having no recognition of this pain can lead to feelings of isolation and invalidation and exacerbating the emotional burden. Women can feel judged or marginalized, with their grief not being acknowledged as valid. Now, that is all true for women who are childless not by choice as a whole, including those who have gone through infertility treatments. But this feeling of isolation and invalidation also often includes these feelings occurring in support groups for women who are childless not by choice. I've had clients who say they don't speak up in support groups because they feel like imposters because of what they describe as inaction. They think they have no right to say they're in pain because they didn't face the difficulties that come with fertility treatments. Again, though, pain is pain, not more, not less than. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone has a different traumatic situation that brought them to being childless not by choice. Yet some add to their pain by believing they don't deserve support. So the I didn't take action mindset leads to self-blame and a sense of powerlessness. What's key, though, is to identify and acknowledge that these feelings are rooted in messages from general society and not because you have personal failures. It's crucial to embrace the understanding that your pain is valid regardless of the circumstances. It's vital to integrate this mindset in order to be able to move forward. Getting past the I didn't take action mindset requires validating your own emotions and finding support. That may be through coaching, through therapy, through support groups, through connecting with other women who share your similar experiences. Now, I know most women who are childless not by choice would really ideally want to meet other childless women in person, but that's often not possible. Don't forget there are still options for virtual connections, virtual meetups. But finding help and support is a crucial step in recognizing not just the complexity of involuntary childlessness and the diverse reasons behind it, but the legitimacy of every reason and the validity of the pain that comes with it. Healing begins with working on this part of the ache, the deep ache of involuntary childlessness. Breaking that cycle of regret and inaction, or what you think is inaction that causes you not to deserve support. Breaking that thought cycle starts with acknowledging and accepting your feelings. Recognize that your pain is real and valid and that it's okay to feel that way. That helps you to move away from blaming yourself and towards understanding the difficult circumstances and, frankly, the sucky options that led you there. Part of the work includes moving from focusing on regret to focusing on resilience so that you can start to heal and find new meaning in your life. Yep, I get you didn't want to have to build that resilience in life, but this is what life has handed you. And to move on includes developing resilience. When you recognize and acknowledge that each person's childless path is unique and that the pain of each journey is valid, it's empowering. Understand that unwanted childlessness isn't a matter of choice, but society's pressures complicate the painful emotional journey. Fostering a more inclusive and a more compassionate environment it's not just something key for the childless not by choice community as a whole, but it starts within each of you as individuals. You have to build up that mindset and really internalize the belief that no matter the circumstances that led to you being childless, your pain is valid. No one's worth is based on the path you took to becoming childless. No one is better or worse because of your reason for involuntary childlessness. The I didn't take action mindset highlights a larger societal issue of misunderstanding and of invalidating the experiences of those who are childless by circumstance and not by choice. I cannot state strongly enough that the factors that contribute to involuntary childlessness are complex, but the pain is real, no matter the reason for being childless not by choice. Now, to foster some options for support, I want to remind you my group coaching program launches in mid-May, and I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. So join the waiting list, click on the link in the show notes, and that way you'll find more information there, and you'll also be among the first to know when registration opens up. All right, I will be back with you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Childless and Moving Onward. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can stay up to date on everything I do by following me on Instagram at Childless Path Onward or on Facebook and YouTube at Path Onward. Until next time, thanks again.